Then in deep sea fishes, the male is very much smaller than the female and remains permanently attached to the female. That's the peculiarity in that case. Then in toads, we have the male croaking loudly to attract and excite the female. I know you must have heard that maybe at night or during wet season after rain just fell or near a river, you will begin to hear the croaking of a toad, and it's doing that to attract and excite the female. That's a courtship behavior, but now it is pairing. Pairing now occurs by the male toad mounting on the back of the female. The female then carries the male on the back for days until fertilization takes place. You see the end product of the croaking and the carrying on the back now. It leads to mating and reproduction. Then pairing of both sexes also occur in some birds and in even winged termites, that they had to fly away to a new case and reproduce. So it's not only restricted to fishes or toads. We have it in birds, even in termites. Then even pigeons pair to build a nest. That's its own method. Pigeon build a nest in pairing. Then the male pigeon mounts on the female and introduces sperm into the female's reproductive tract. Also, human beings exhibit pairing as well. You see sexually matured male and female, they live together as husband and wife. They mate and reproduce. That's also a form of pairing that occurs in human beings. So you see different kinds of animals displaying their own peculiar sexual behavior, and the first we consider now is pairing. Now the next one is display. In display, we have the male peacock spread its long, beautiful tail feathers to attract the female. Now I said that color attraction, voice or sound making, those are examples of sexual behavior. Now in display, this has to do with sight. Display for the female peacock to see the male peacock, it has just to attract her to the male peacock has to spread its long beautiful tail so as to attract the female. Then even in birds may also dance around the female. I know you must have seen a cock doing that around the hen, just parabolating, dancing around the female, and they are actually passing information. It may not be sensible to you, but that's just their own life. Then also in lizard, the male lizard displays its bright colors and approaches the female. The female curves her back and lifts her tail vertically. The male then wags its tail, nods his head, and grips her by the neck and pushes his tail under her body so that their cloacas, that is the cloaca of the male and the female, come in contact for copulation or mating. So you see the end product is for copulation or mating. So that is display in lizard, and I said it has to do with sight, showing colors, showing bright colors to attract the female or the opposite sex. Also, we see display in human beings too. The female species now, the female human beings dressing beautifully to attract the male, in using their voices, in decorating of the body, appearing in a way that will appeal to the male species. So that's also display, having to do with the sight, attracting the opposite sex by something the opposite sex can see that will attract it to the other partner. Then the third behavior, or the third courtship behavior that we'll be looking at, is territoriality. Some animals exhibit territoriality by occupying an area and defending it for the purpose of mating, nesting, and feeding. Like just making a mark or a boundary that this is my place, this is my location. Even some humans do it as young children. This is my place. You must not pass it. So territoriality now in animals is usually for the purpose of mating, nesting. That is, making their nest to keep their young ones. That is from the result of the mating. Then for feeding too. The male tilapia often fights for possession of the female. It bites and wards off male intruders. So it makes sure that that place is his own. This is my location, this is my territory. So he wards off intruders, especially males that want to come in to interrupt its relationship with the female. Also, the adult male lizard claims exclusive control over some female lizards and young males. You just say, oh, these particular females, I am the one in charge, so nobody should come around. So the adult male lizard now is said to establish a territory around those females. Then the male lizard can be very aggressive to an intruder. It displays its full color, its head and its body, and moves its head up and down, expands its gullar fold, and scares the other male lizard. So it's just creating tension and telling them that I'm the one in charge here. So just look for your own place. That's another behavior or courtship behavior. Then it chases the female into the territory. For instance, it has created its territory already, preventing other male intruders. Then go after the female, chase her into its own territory. You know that kind of a thing. Chasing the female into its own territory, then gripping the female by the neck for mating. You see, mating again. It's just for the purpose of mating. Every behavior, attitude that is put up, which will eventually lead to mating, that is what we call behavioral pattern or courtship behavior in animals. Then the last one that I will be talking about is seasonal migration. It is common in fishes, cattle, egrets, and other birds. The migration is usually connected with the search for spawning ground and food, and also for survival of adverse weather conditions. Spawning is the rule in many aquatic animals like fish, marine worms. They shed or deposit numerous gametes into surrounding watery environments in which fertilization occurs. So the fertilization depends on chance, since the parents do not come together. You know, they just lay their eggs around numerously. So it's by chance. If the male comes around and deposits its own sperm on it, there will be fertilization that occurs. But if it doesn't come, the eggs will just be wasted. So that is why it is said that the fertilization depends on chance. So it's not always a certain way of reproduction. Then, for instance, we have the mudfish leave the deep pools and travels upstream to the spawning ground and at the beginning of the rains, and returns down to the stream when the dry season approaches. So it's trying to adapt to the condition, to the weather condition. So when there is rain at the beginning of rainy season, it comes upstream to the spawning ground. But when the season becomes dry, it goes back to the deep pools. Then as the water level falls, the fish move from pool to pool downstream and return as soon as conditions have suitable. So that's another. So seasonal migration, the process they get to mate and things like that. So they move when the condition is not too favorable for them. Migratory movements are sometimes enforced by weather conditions. I said it earlier. For instance, you find the cattle egrets migrate from the northern part of Nigeria to the southern states during dry season. So they are, the southern part of Nigeria is kind of mild. It's not as harsh as we have in another part. So when the environment is dry and harsh in another part, they start to migrate towards the southern states. What are the importance of courtship behavior? First is to identify each partner as each other potential mates. So they will be able to say, okay, this particular bird B is associated with this other particular bird A, something like that. So it is to identify each partner as each other potential mates. Another importance of courtship behavior is to arouse sexual responses, thereby enhancing mating of male and female partner and subsequent fertilization. So, part of the definition of courtship behavior is that the behavioral patterns that is put up by animals to get mating and then fertilization or reproduction. So, an importance of courtship behavior is to arouse sexual responses to attract the other, so as to lead to mating and fertilization, which eventually leads to reproduction. The third importance is to stimulate egg laying and sperm release in the partners, thereby enhancing fertilization, that is reproduction. So once those behaviors are put in place, there is a stimulation for the female to lay eggs, for the male to produce sperm that will later lead to fertilization and then by reproduction of new organism. Then another importance is to reduce the female's fear of the male, that is, to reduce the fear the female has for the male, and